another DraftScience video presentation. Blah 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 blah. Anyway, comments mostly. Maybe you'll talk about energy a little bit. Other contexts. So anyway, eventually I will get to this very long comment on the ferrocell. But there's no, the problem is his theory is just as wrong as the theory I'm debunking. So it's just twice I have to do twice the work. I have to not only point out how what Ken Willer's saying is horseshit, I have to explain why this guy's crap is horseshit. But anyway, sort of yes, needs more detail than I want to provide in this video. Mostly concerning and this is just a regular human. Concerning your initial complaint, there is an alternative platform that is growing quite popular among people who are discouraged with YouTube. I mean, sorry, I mean, this is almost like you want to, there's a fence and there's people on one side of the fence and people on the other side of the fence and you're having a war, and then there's people walking the fence and you just want to shoot them first. It's just this idea, you people always have this need to provide a solution to a problem as if it already exists. There's some solution to the problem. No problem. No, it doesn't solve the problem. Just like ad blocker doesn't solve the problem that people who don't like ads and don't want companies to use advertising have to pay for them anyway. The products are where the price of the product is where you are paying for the advertising. So because they're soliciting assholes to buy the product, I have to pay for that. And so the point is there's no free lunches here. You can't. So this whole idea that you can just migrate some of the people off the platform and everything's going to work fine. No, the whole point is to be accessible. I can publish my own fucking videos on my website. I don't need a video publishing site. What I need is access, just like with free speech. You don't need a permit to talk to an alley of cats, for example, somewhere. You don't need a permit to, in the middle of nowhere, to have your free speech. You need the permit where your free speech could have some sort of consequence. So this idea of alternatives, they really can't mean anything unless they're going to be really, really great and everybody migrates to them. It's either we all go or none of us go, because it just doesn't work any other way. It's the nature of the system. Just like you need to be indexed by Google for your website to be on the internet. You're not really on the internet if Google won't index your website. Oh, fuck. Alright, with YouTube and other social media platforms, the live, whatever that, yeah, that sounds really special, the live. the live. I don't know, you can't even say it because there's no DE. Anyway, there's also unauthorized TV. Well, that just sounds so special. So again, I'm trying to get away from spam and bullshit, and you have something called unauthorized. No, I want authorized. I want credible TV. How about that? Truth TV, something better than this crap. Oh, crap. Yes, you're just not getting it. As is the usual. Okay, now you say there hasn't been published. So this is Delta Nor, who's going to get blocked now, because this is just lie after lie after lie after lie. Okay, now you say it hasn't been published. Yeah, well, the word published to anybody in this vernacular doesn't mean you published it on your own website, or you paid some company to publish it. You paid them $20 and they published it. The idea of publication means that there was some peer review, that there was some sort of review. Now, I'm against peer review that just throws things in the garbage with no editorial comment. I think that's absolute crap. Okay, they have an obligation, if they're going to be a peer-reviewed journal, to explain their decisions, and they don't do that in any public manner whatsoever, in any accountable manner whatsoever. So that's horseshit. But the fact is that it makes a difference to have somebody look at it and say, oh, there's parts in here where I have no idea what he's saying. He's saying this is a credible way to do something, but there isn't any. And then they can bring up certain easy points like, well, what you need to do is do this experiment when there's no eclipse. So take some pictures of the stars when there's no eclipse, at night even, and then use your technique and see if the stars end up being in the same location where, that simple test, where you say, okay, now you validated this part of your process because it's worked in another test. All right? And then the only process that will be still under debate is the process of taking an image of basically the sun's corona and saying you see stars in there when you can't even see the stars in the picture. Wrong again. Okay, I mean, I clearly indicated in the statement that by publication I didn't mean you published it on your own website or you paid somebody to publish it. I was talking about publication in the scientific sense, which means a peer-reviewed journal. No, you're pathetically wrong. No, I'm completely right. Nobody says publish and means, hey, he put it on his own website. It really does get tired correcting you. Obviously, you're not correcting me, you're distorting me. You're completely perverting every essence of what I was talking about. When I said published, I said the word peer review, so clearly I was indicating, and I even explained what peer review was, which is scrutinizing the technical details. I even said those words. So clearly you're the one not correcting anything. You're doing your disinformation propaganda bullshit of lying about other people, because that's who you are, a pathetic liar. Okay, you and your poorly researched false accusation. So again, there's nothing false in the accusation. Here's the article. It looks like a peer-reviewed journal, right? You could say, or something, but it's not. All right, it publishes anything. I could have, a documentation of my anal function as being, spiritually significant, abstract, and they'll publish it. Okay, they have no standards. Pay them, they'll publish. Not a peer-reviewed journal. Okay, it has been published, right? It's been published in a place that's totally irrelevant to the process of scientific scrutiny. How many of your false bullshit claims? So again, there's no false claim. I clearly indicated peer review and scrutiny of the technical details. I said those things in the video. You're just a liar. Do we have to keep correcting? So again, another statement as if they have ever been right when they are constantly and always just making false, lying accusations. You're a despicable, lying piece of shit. You should give us your real name and address so people can just look when they go by your house and say, ooh, that's where the scumbag liar lives. Because you're a liar. Alright. Ken is the product of his generation. Well, that really doesn't mean anything, right? I mean, I don't even want to be profiled as a member of a generation, frankly, because my generation was a bunch of cop-out weasel motherfuckers. They were only anti-war because they were selfish fucks. Because as soon as the war was over, they decided to become disco, fast car bullshit asshole wasters. They didn't give a shit about anything. The hippie generation was a big fat fraud. Very informed and gullible bunch. Well, misinformed. Well, again, that's just your opinion, Steve. It doesn't really mean a damn thing. I mean, this whole idea that, like I said, you oldies who think you've just been gapped. I clearly say the world has gotten so technically complicated and sophisticated that it's hard to be a know-it-all nowadays. It's a real challenge. Because there's a lot to know. But fuck that, it's just useless bullshit. Let's judge Ken for the content of his character and his lies. Let's not blame his whole generation. Thinking clearly too, so there's probably just going to be some more fucking goddamn rationalizations for what frankly was just an unnecessary, again, playing with trolls on my channel. I don't think he'd play with them on other people's channels, so he didn't talk about that at all. And if he did, then he would be exactly as I described, which is somebody who's not giving a damn about the assholes running the medium. What the fuck is that sound? strange. Maybe I'll go find it. That's what I'll do. I'll go find the sound. No, that's not what I wanted to do. This is what I wanted to do. Alright, appears to be back. Gas pipe vibrating for no good reason. Anyway, it was obvious with the username calling your channel coward you were going to block him. So what? That's not the issue. The issue is your engagement with him. He asked me what could have potentially been a serious comment. You couldn't understand it. That's why you had to ask him what he was talking about. Followed up with some bullshit, so I gave him a sarcastic response and left it. It didn't seem sarcastic. It basically said "good one." That was the last word you said. Maybe you're being sarcastic, but somebody couldn't read it some other way. So fail I today. You can think I'm not going far enough. Yes, that's what I think. I think you're just being a bullshitter here. You show up here and complain, and I think a lot of it's just bullshit. Frankly. And I guess I think I've kind of demonstrated that I think your complaint is just some sort of thing. You just don't like the personality thing, and so you're going to make complaints that aren't any different than any other channel's real function. And I can think you sometimes are going too far. Well, again, I've gotten blocked off other people's channels. I never posted a rotten comment ever. And they just block me because obviously they don't like the videos I make, and they don't like that I bring them up in those videos. But there's no reason to block me because I don't make raggy comments. Ken Wheeler, for example, never made a raggy comment on any of his videos. I just asked him, could we schedule a debate? You said you're a professional debater. I'd like to debate you. And we can waste time on that forever. Well, you think it's a waste of time. You make a false accusation. I defend myself, and so my defense is the waste of time. You didn't waste my time by making the false accusations. Or what I think are false accusations. Implications of impropriety that I had to defend myself against, didn't I? But I'm not the enforcer of your channel, so now you're just pretending you don't have anything to do with any of this when you're the one who brought it up. It's not my job to pick a fight. Well, that's certainly what you sort of did. I mean, you did impugn my performance character and imply impropriety. I mean, with everyone with a trolling account name. And it's not like you haven't called me an asshole or a fuckhead 100 times since I first posted. Right. I'm just saying that, if you can't take the words, then get out of the kitchen kind of thing, the heat. If you don't know what having an argument is, or discord, or any of that kind of crap, and just those little, the way I said it to you, it's not like I was wishing you dead or something. Let's get real. Maybe if you can read a couple of my comments without insulting me. Well, again, you started it, right? So I'm supposed to be all nice, and you can be shitty to me first. You can first put me on the defensive and then complain because I don't want to waste my time, okay? You're throwing rocks, I'm just going to shoot bullets. Fuck you. I don't want to have a rock fight. And especially when I don't even get to know who the fuck you are, and I don't get to critique your existence. I'll be more inclined to come to your defense. Well, I don't really need you to come to my defense. I just didn't want you participating with the trolls. That was kind of obvious. You didn't have to make a comment about, oh, isn't it awful that this asshole would comment on my comment? Ooh, it's disgusting. Ooh, I feel dirty. I don't need you to say anything or do anything. All I'm sort of requesting is you don't play with the damn troll on my channel. I actually thought I had moved past this. Whatever. I specifically offered an olive branch with the 3 physics questions, and I specifically thanked you and blah blah blah, but it seems to me that's a different subject, isn't it? And it seems to me that doesn't provide us anything. You offered it and then you said, well, I don't know when the fuck he's going to school, or when the fuck I'll see him, or whatever. So it's all turned into a very vague opportunity. It seems very vague anyway. The kid's going to Oxford physics, and he doesn't have some notion himself. He doesn't have any passion for my videos or my content. Then what's the fucking point? Being asked as to why I get us on this topic of your channel. Being asked as a way to get us on to the topic of your channel and move things into a more productive area. You even thanked me for the generous. That's right, exactly. So why are you sitting there implying that, oh, I did all the right things and you did all the wrong things? No. I'm just saying then you did something stupid right in front of my face. I mean, after I said thank you and blah, 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 then you sit there and you're right in front of my face, you did something stupid. You spent 10 minutes in the previous video running through potential questions, saying you wished you had read the comment ahead of time so you could have questions prepared. Oh, so now you want to pick another fight. Yeah, that's what I said. I'm trying to think, the trick is how, writing the questions artfully enough so they can't be evaded. So the answer can't be something stupid. So I followed it up by qualifying the offer, saying it doesn't have to be limited to 3 questions, and now you're throwing it back in my face saying it's a waste of time all of a sudden. I'm saying no such thing. I'm just kind of discouraged, that's all. I have no idea what I've explained what I'm saying, okay? This kid is in his first year of physics. The professor's not going to answer his fucking questions in any kind of serious manner. He's going to do a Feynman. He's not going to be, challenged to think by a student. But anyway, okay, if you think that's going to happen, fine, all right. I don't think it's very realistic. I mean, it depends. I guess it depends on whether he's there on a scholarship or whether he's there on real money. If he paid real money to be there, well, then maybe the teacher will give him some respect. But who knows? I doubt it. Oh, anyway, you're really quite anal, aren't you? I mean, you're just one of those people. You're just gonna have to go through every little bit of it, aren't you? Do you even realize, so this is the Nor liar scum again. Do you even realize how minute an arcsecond is? Yeah, I pointed out in the video, it's like measuring the distance of a human hair, of something being like an elephant moved, the thickness of a human hair at 30 feet. So from 30 feet, you're going to see the elephant move the thickness of a human hair. You wouldn't see some glaring difference you can eyeball. Well, of course, you can see the difference or there wouldn't be any experiment to do. So obviously, you can use a magnifying glass. The difference has to be seeable. That's the whole thing Eddington did. He looked at the photographs, photograph A over photograph B, and saw the difference. So the way you can do the fucking experiment, shit for brain, is there has to be a difference that eyeballs can see with technical aid. Not with a digital telescope. Not with a digital telescope. I don't even know what a digital telescope is. Okay, but clearly, and not with a plate. Well, clearly with photographic plate film, yes, that's exactly how they do it. They take an eyepiece and see the difference with their eye. That's what Eddington did, retard. Where's that pipe vibrating again? I mean, how much more ignorant can you get? So this is like I said, the quality of trolls. I mean, they're just such a horrible distraction. So he's just misinforming people, in a terrible way, trying to imply that somehow Eddington used, computer software in 1919 to see the difference. What are you trying to do here? Except make noises and destroy any intelligent conversation with insanely false premises that the experiment somehow can't be done. That's why it's never been repeated, is because no one can do it, because you can't see the difference. All you do is make sloppy, he's talking about sloppy, and this guy doesn't know that Eddington looked at the photographic film to see the difference. Sloppy-minded shit without a single thought put into what you spew. I mean, it's so ironic. You're so ignorant and so unaccountable, and that's just 2 things that should never be allowed to be together, is ignorance and unaccountability. You don't go too hard, you belligerently deny the basic counter-arguments. So again, I'm reading the counter-arguments, and as you can see, they're completely premised on lies and distortions and horseshit. when it insults you, and you're just, I don't know, hedonistically ignorant shithead. What does that have to do with anything? So wait, so what if I was? What does that have to do with anything? There are arguments about physics. I'm arguing that the Eddington experiment, you should be able to see the difference. That's the theory. The difference should be visible to the eye. Who doesn't have the scruples to think about what you're saying? So, of course, it's exactly the opposite. This is demonstrated. I mean, you people, you are such bad trolls. You're giving troll even a worse name. You're so bad. This is demonstrated, he puts in italics, by the fact that you pose ignorant misunderstandings as questions. So if you ask the question, what causes the wave of light to break into two waves of light in a single slit? What's the reasoning behind it? Water waves don't do that. Why don't water waves do what light waves do in a single slit? Why? Oh, what a what a misunderstood question. No. And then, then when you ask the simple question like, well, where's the energy come from for gravity? And if there are virtual photons, where's the energy come from to make them? And then oblige everyone else to educate you like some entitled and brat. Yeah, right. And your education is false, clearly. All false premises, false assumptions, false declarations of the truth. You're such a pathetically stupid motherfucker. And this is assuming you even get what you're reading. So again, all this spew he gets to say for free. These unaccountable assholes. So this is what you get when you have an unaccountable internet. You all want to have your little private IP addresses and be all little secret little assholes on the internet. And it's just such bullshit. This is the society you get when you give people that kind of unaccountability. Which in most cases you don't, as has been demonstrated in the past 20 videos. Well, what's been demonstrated in the past 20 videos is that I'm making nice arguments, solid arguments, and you have nothing to say in response except irrational nonsense. Somehow the Eddington experiment is a pristine experiment, but you're saying you're right there in front of me, but it can't be done. It's proof that photons are bent by gravity, but it's not an experiment you can do because you can't see the difference. I mean, an amazingly retarded counter-argument. More retarded than Professor Lewin and his 2 voltages in the same place. Alright, so here we go. So this is like the cowboy responding to whatever this asshole is. The paper about consciousness that Matthew H. linked to did not say the measurement problem is not a problem. And I didn't say it didn't say the measurement problem wasn't a problem. What it said was you don't need consciousness to collapse wave functions. That's what I said. And that's what the paper's about. It was arguing that it is not solved by consciousness. And that's what I said. So fuck you. You made a straw man of the paper right then and there. No, the part that makes the paper useless tripe, okay, is the fact that it's not dealing in any rational way with entanglement, which is the source of all this horse shit in the video. What's even more incredible is that you forgot why he linked you to it. Yeah, I don't have any idea why he thinks this is a subject of this channel, where I've somehow even talked about the measurement problem in anything but a specific way, where I've basically overtly stated there's absolutely no reason to think that the one place in the universe we can't see, that is the smallest thing, we will never see the smallest thing in the universe. It's impossible to see it. It's impossible to passively interact with the smallest thing with any measuring device. So you'll never see one of the smallest thing. You'll never measure it because there's nothing to measure it with. Okay? Impossible. Theoretically impossible. That's what I'm saying. Overtly. And what I'm saying is it's absolutely silly to say that the particles that have all the magic are the ones we can't see. So all the particles we can see, they don't have any magic that we can see. But oh yeah, the ones we can't see, that's where all the magic is. I think that's just a silly assumption to be making. And I just think there's absolutely no evidence that photons have any properties. There's just no evidence of a property. Besides moving the speed of light in one direction at a time, they don't have any properties. And that's my assertion. So any theory that states they do have properties and can do things is shit. And any theory that says that something can detect a photon going by, or a half a photon, or a little, the photon barely nudged me, or something. No, it can either hits or it doesn't hit. That's it. That's the only things. It can either be capture it or you don't capture it. It's like a fish. You catch the fish or you don't catch the fish. That's all there is. There isn't any other option. I mean, certainly you can catch it and lose it and all that. I'm just saying you either land it or you don't land it. Yeah, that's the basic formula for winning arguments. He's been doing it for 12 years. Right. So, well, at least they're conceding I'm winning the argument by all appearances, because there's clearly no rational counter argument. So, yes, I do get to win because you don't seem to be able to muster the faculties to be able to construct any kind of reasoned argument. You just put on your Jason mask and go, ee. You got nothing. You're so fucking weak. I don't think there's any other comments by him, so we'll just do the appropriate thing. Alright, and we'll save you for, I think you have one more comment? Oh no, you're done too. Okay, so, yes, goodbye, fucking liar, you scummy, lying sack of shit. Alright. John Doe, no doubt not very useful. I recently came across a paper which provides a deterministic explanation for the double slit experiment that describes the Schrödinger wave function as an ensemble property rather than an individual system. It doesn't, I don't want to pick, but it's really the Heisenberg wave function that they're going with, not the Schrödinger one. So, although they're the same, they're different. But anyway, I thought it may be of interest to you. No, it's just a tedious piece of rubbish. So the paper is basically saying it's entanglement, or it's spooky action, in the sense that it's basically saying something like, oh no, it's a particle and it goes through one slit, but it senses the other slit. Yeah. It's saying there's things that are called non-locality, that it's affected by some kind of non-locality. There's no non-locality. I'm not being affected by anybody in China except through mechanisms that are connected through energy and the movement of matter. There's no non-local direct communication. It's a silly idea. Nonsensical mush. That doesn't seem right. What the hell happened to the comments? I have broken something. Apparently. Weird. I have no idea what happened to my other tab. Let's see if it's there. Oh, it's still there. Okay. Never mind. Anyway. So, not a... I think it's... Okay, it was directed at me, and so I'll just delete it, because I don't think anybody gains anything from another wacky paper proposing another wacky bent space whatever entangled bullshit system. Nope. So here's the WOT guy. So at least they're putting icons with their images. I don't know how relevant, it's not very compelling, connect the dots kind of, oh yeah, there's a symmetry between the name and the icon or anything like that. So he's doing poetry, so he must be a modern mystic fan or something. I so fear my Tuan. It is jolly and intense. It has evil humors and other ready features. When it flies, I feel frightened. Wow. Yeah, I just couldn't mean a thing to me. That whatever that was, forget it. Didn't work. Yeah. So there's another fake account, a little fake icon of, I don't know, Jim or Jill. I can't even tell. You obviously have to conclude the electromagnetic spectrum would have something to do with why photons travel into the future in the Eddington experiment. So strange. I mean, there's nothing about the Eddington experiment, just bending light. in gravity. Where are they going to the future? And that it is plausible to say that we have to call it a virtual photon. That they're not, I don't know, because no one can comprehend the Eddington experiment locally, nor can you conclude why the sky does the same thing as a crystal in that they make rainbows. The theory of rainbows was pretty much answered by Newton. Newton figured out that little drops of moisture and that the droplets are like lenses and they're refracting, spreading the light like a pyramid, like a prism, based on the number of reflections. And I mean, that's already settled science. That's not under dispute. Newton's device to prove the electromagnetic spectrum. Newton didn't prove any electromagnetic spectrum. Obviously is way less complex than air making the electromagnetic spectrum visible, which gets back to spooky action. So again, just more. Electromagnetic was basically a concept created by Maxwell. There's no connection really. It's one thing. There's a force, okay, and it's polarized. So it's not there's no electro force. There's only magnetic polarization, charge. That's the only thing that exists. You don't have to believe in an ether. That's another one of the questions, by the way, for the other guy is, in what way do electrons and protons not satisfy the definition, what would be the definition of a magnetic monopole? So if we believed magnetic monopoles could exist, and we were to define what they should do, how do electrons and protons not fit the definition? If they're not magnetic monopoles, how are they not? To make it simple. You don't have to believe in an ether to understand that the atmosphere fucks with our perception. It doesn't fuck with our perception, it fucks with the stuff we're perceiving. When you look at a rainbow, so why can obviously it's already been fucked when you're looking at the rainbow again. So why can't the sky be an extended illusion of time? Because time and refraction don't have shit to do with each other. It's just a locality argument. You didn't make any kind of rational argument. So this is called "it's the photon, stupid." That's a phrase I invented. So I'll just delete this. But I mean, obviously you're crazy. Sorry, but yes, you're crazy. Let's go there and just see what they're up to. Seems it's just a troll account of some kind. Oh, it seems there's a human being here. So he's an anti-natalist, black race, and radical insensitivity. I don't know. I don't even want to know what that might be. Why I'm an anti-natalist. It's probably not a good reason. This looks like what's his face. Yeah. So yeah, I can't enlarge the image. Yeah, so I won't bother. I won't bother. Yeah. Sorry. But all your rowers, some of them are rowing in the air. They just haven't figured out that there's water. You got to row in the water of coherency. Rowing in the air just won't work, to use a physics metaphor. All right. So, much I can say. Thanks, but work on it. Test your theory before you test your comment. Write it and then sleep on it, and then the next day look at it and say, "Oh yeah, I was crazy yesterday." Before posting, maybe. All right, so I think I can just rag a little bit on the subject of maybe energy, because the word comes up. Bill Gates poops on the word, and now this D. Hilster kook, fool, dupe, simpleton. has also played with the word. Obviously, these idiots, in these energy conferences, they want to create free energy, whatever the fuck that would possibly be. They thinking motors will just run all by themselves because somehow there's some way to channel energy for some way to do that without using energy to create the energy. You have to have a catalyst of some kind at minimum. So anyway, so there's nothing wrong with the word energy. It's just another way of saying the amount of movement you need. I mean, it's just movement, right? So energy is seen by moving something, and so you measure it by horsepower and all this other stuff, which really just has to do with moving something against a force. So moving a weight against gravity, or whatever the thing would be, and you say that's a horsepower, and that's how much stuff you need to make that happen. You need a horsepower worth, or you need a kilogram. How do I put it? You need a volume of this stuff called energy, and there's this stuff called energy, which is this movement. And the trick is that in the universe, the energy is balanced from all directions, so there's no apparent movement, but it's obviously there's movement there. And you could argue that because of the way the electron is created, now that I've figured it out for you, that electrons actually do have a perpetual movement problem, a jitter problem. They just can't settle in one place because they have that 5-rower thing, where it's either 3 going this way and 2 going that way, or 2 going that way and 3 going this way. They're always going. And you could, in a sense, call that energy because it's a differential. So if an electron's going this way, you could argue somewhere in the universe, because there was an equal number of rowers to start with, there's an electron going the other way. And that way you could say that explains entanglement, in the sense that there's always a connection between how much energy got going one way and how much energy is going the other way, because you can't get away from the 50-50 thing in the end. You have to account for all the colored jelly. There's 10 red jelly beans and 10 black jelly beans or whatever, and you're going to mix things up and do experiments where they're all going to get a little bit segregated. And you just know that if you have a lot of black jelly beans over here, there must be a lot of red ones over there, that kind of thing. So energy is a real thing in the sense that it's the stuff that is pushing everything, you could argue. And you're just measuring how much pushing stuff it takes. So how many rowers does it take for me to create an imbalance in, like, the space shuttle and make it go against the force of gravity? And so you can calculate exactly how many of these little rowers you need to shove in and make exchanges for ones going the wrong way to create a disproportion in the entire shuttle, balanced over its entire mass, that will, through the process of acceleration, move it. Now, it's not going to be a one-for-one thing because it's not a perfectly efficient process. Some of the energy goes in directions, you lose it in places, so you're not allowed to just shove all the energy right in. So that's what acceleration basically is a description of a system that has some loss in it. But regardless, what else can I say? But it's not like you just say energy is a concept, because it's clearly related to the whole quantum thing, the idea that there's a kernel of this stuff. And what you're really just saying is that something that's an energy phenomenon has to do with changes in the number of these little kernels. So it's a real thing. To say it's just a concept is to just kind of pretend that it doesn't matter, that there's, I've taken the jelly beans that were mixed and I segregated all the white ones over here and all the blue ones over there. Yeah, it does matter. Okay, that changes the universe. Yeah, it's just something simple like that. But it's just stupid to say it's not a real thing. It's certainly a real thing in the sense that we've figured out that you can measure this rower effect, this boat rower effect. You know, how many of these little energy guys are in boats versus how many of them are in the free space, and in what direction are they moving. And so that way it can be understood as a coherent, real thing, and it can be understood that you can't, I'm trying to think of the right way to say it. We clearly can release tremendous amounts of energy, like blowing up an atom or something. So the energy's there, you know, in the sense that it's free, and that systems have already been pressurized, and we can depressurize them. So they've been imbalanced, that is, they have more bits per density. That's what matter is, more energy per density of space. And so if we release them to their free density, you know, allow them to spread out again, okay, that can have an energetic impact on the environment, because now the environment is taking back what it had lost. And you can almost think of it like lightning. You know, think about lightning as, you know, the ground losing something, right, to the clouds, and then the lightning strike is pushing it back in all at once. And so it does it rather dramatically, because a huge amount of imbalance is being transferred all at once. But anyway, so I'm just saying it's a completely valid conceptual word, and even as a concept, it's talking about something that has real properties and real mechanical constituents. There's real things that are causing the energy effect, if you want to call it an effect. I'm clearly just saying energy is the little stuff moving the speed of light in a direction. All of that is energy. Okay. That's what I'm pretty much saying. Alright, Franklin Hu doing a concert of some kind. Interesting. I like violin music. Maybe I'll watch that. We'll see. His singing is pretty bad. So his karaoke is pretty horrible. But we'll see how that one. He doesn't post physics videos. It's just kind of strange. He just posts these lifestyle videos instead of any physics videos. Don't get that. Anyway. Energy, science, and technology. Yeah, so these are the whack jobs, and their scalar waves, and all their, you know, Tesla nonsense. Hopeless. And then the Electric Universe, I thought they had a funny title here. Here it is, yeah, the Thunderbolts Project. Mars and the Warrior Hero. I mean, these people keep saying, oh, you know, this isn't a religion, or this isn't fantasy or fairy tale. I mean, who does science that way? Mars and the Warrior Hero. I mean, space news. I mean, it's just for kids. For girls. Yeah, for little girls. Space news for little girls. Full of unicorns and happy dust. It's just pathetic. Alright, so I guess that's all I got. There's nothing, you know. Alright, till next time, when I will once again attempt to explain. I really shouldn't even have to, right? I mean, the fact that human beings are just too fucking stupid is just being made apparent. You know, I shouldn't have to make the argument, really. It's sort of been proven over and over again. Alright. Come on. Till next time and such.